Senator London Lamar, thanks for being with me right now. Why is a bill like SB 1681 necessary for the state of Tennessee?
So, when I think about the state of Tennessee and the fact that Tennessee has the highest maternal mortality rate in the country, we have to tighten up rules and regulations to make sure women in this state can have healthy pregnancies and they can make it through the birthing process. One of the many ways in order to bring that number down is to ensure that women, when they enter the emergency room for care, that they care is taken seriously. So there was a viral video a couple of months ago of a woman who was sent away from the emergency room while she was in active labor. She ended up having that baby in the car. So that can be very dangerous, especially when you think about the rural areas, how it's already harder to get to emergency facility anyway. The idea of you being turned away, it just doesn't sit well. And so I was inspired by that video and other maternal stories in conjunction with the number of hospital closures in the rural area of that this is something that we really need to focus on to ensure that when hospitals have capacity, they are making sure they're giving women the proper examinations and support for when they are in active labor, so we won't have any adverse consequences from being turned away or a woman's labor process going negatively very quickly. And so this is just to tighten up regulations, ensure that hospitals with capacity are using their capacity to support the most vulnerable people, and that includes women in active labor.
Well, and you speak about it in a way because you know the pain of this. In 2019,
Absolutely.
you lost your first child stillborn. You could have lost your own life. How has that
Mhm.
informed the work you're doing at the Senate?
I just remember vividly the whole process of being in an emergency room. And while at the time that I went, it wasn't busy, that I was able to be seen quickly. I have been in an emergency room and it's at capacity where people are sitting in the lobby waiting, needing the care that they need. When you're in an emergency situation like that, where you're in labor, that has to be seen as a top priority. It can't wait. It's very critical care that needs to happen. So we want to make sure that our EMTALA laws on a federal level are emulated on the state level to ensure pregnant women are seen very critically before many other issues so that they can save the mothers and the babies. I know what that looks like. I've been through it. And so we don't want no woman to die or her child die in the pregnancy process. And our emergency rooms are most times the first stop shop for many women when they're going through this process.
Hmm. And I would think that you would agree with me that Tennessee should not be last in the nation for this, or we
Absolutely.
could say first in the nation with maternal mortality rates. It's not right that women die in the state when they're pregnant.
Absolutely. We can't be a pro life state when we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the country. Those two ideas don't align with each other. But what my legislation does is to make sure that Tennessee is a place where people can live through this process. If we are going to be pro life, we have to be that beyond abortion. We have to be about that in the policies that impact the women who are actually carrying children right here, right now.
And the last question I have for you is just kind of about the disincentive that's in this bill, meaning what penalties are there for hospitals or for practitioners, for doctors, care teams, if they're not treating pregnant women when they walk into emergency departments?
If a hospital or a doctor or physician is not using all the resources to their disposal and they're not acting in good faith, there are penalties that we have put in place, such as fines and allowing the Department of Health to do investigations on any of these instances or issues that may arise. So what we are doing is tightening the regulation, making sure there's actual penalties in place and actual investigative power for these departments and other stakeholders to investigate if we do see that something like this does happen.
I know it's not been scheduled yet for next week, but at some point next week, it's going to be heard by the full Senate. What work will you have to do in the meantime to prepare for the full Senate to hear your bill?
I need to go around to all my legislators and one, get them to see why this is so important and get them on my side. I need to show them that this is pro-life legislation, that this is can be bipartisan legislation that we all can champion together. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is not an urban versus rural. This is a Tennessee issue, and it impacts potentially every family. Everyone in this state either has a mother, a sister, an aunt, a daughter, or a granddaughter, or a friend who has gone gone through the pregnancy process. And so we want to make sure that those who in the future or at this point now are feel like that they are going to be taken care of to the best of their ability and with the utmost care.
All right, Senator London Lamar from Memphis, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Okay.